Curious as what part, I mean, it's like that's where the train loading takes in.
It's nice, or you put naked.
Make your, since you are, just let me know.
It
You want to make your comment?
I got trusted.
We're live here, guys. Camera's hot. Just go tell them some more secrets. The cone of silence is off. No, anybody can just. Okay, it's 6 o'clock. Welcome everybody to the December 16th, 2024 council meeting on this nice evening out there tonight. First off, we would like to start off and acknowledge that we're gathered tonight on Treaty 5 territory, which is the traditional land of our neighbors, the Opaskwayak Cree Nation, as well as many other indigenous people, and is the homeland of the Red River Métis. So with that, I will call the meeting to order. I'm doing a quick attendance check. Everybody is present this evening. And somebody should have a motion to adopt the agenda.
Moved by myself, second by Councillor Allen, resolved that the agenda be adopted as presented.
Call a question, no, seeing none, all in favor, opposed, carried. Resolution for confirmation of the minutes.
Resolution number 2024-237, moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Hopper, resolved that the minutes of the regular council meeting of December 2nd, 2024 be hereby approved, all statutory declarations having been complied with.
Any comments or questions?
I just got one correction, I guess, under committee of the whole. It says that we move into committee of the whole with Mayor Murphy in the chair. It probably should say Deputy Mayor Atkins.
Okay, so I'm going to amend the minutes here, just 1 second, as soon as I see it. And then we will.
I saw
1 second. Deputy Mayor.
Well, if we're doing that, I think also the bottom of the minutes, it also states that you're to sign. Does that matter?
No.
I think I saw that as well. Like, I don't think that matters.
So, could I get a resolution to, well, I guess the the minutes are as amended now, as with that last request there. So now, we resolve the minutes of the regular council meeting of December 2nd, hereby approved as amended. As amended. And all statutory declarations have been complied with. Any further questions with that? Seeing none, call a question, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. Recognition.
I would like to recognize that this weekend we hosted a basketball tournament at NBCI. Our girl team played second place and our boys team played third place. I'd also like to recognize the NBCI band and small ensemble. They performed very well at both our band recital on the 11th and at the Festival of Trees. I'll go into more detail later on during announcements and stuff, but I think that's something positive.
No, awesome. That is very positive. Anybody else have anything?
Share the one small one. I just learned yesterday while out at the Rosie Main Ski Trail that Shane Elliott is the one who's managing
Okay.
or looking after and grooming it and take care of it. A lot of people going out, especially with nice weather. So, thank you.
Good on
Shane
you.
Elliott. And I guess we'll have to change it for Rosie Main to Rosie Shane Ski Trails. That was at the advice of his wife.
Yeah. No, that's good. And thanks to Shane and our community. I know there's also sort of on that, there was a lot of volunteers this weekend with the basketball tournament as well, I'm assuming. So, thanks to all of our volunteers out there.
I'd just like to recognize that we had Santa Claus Parade.
Yeah.
We had the Immigration Services do their get together as
Yeah.
well, and as was mentioned, Festival of Trees. So it's great to see all the festive spirit in the community.
And thank you to the Paw Community Renewal Corporation, I believe, organizes that Santa parade, so yeah, they do every year, great job. Anybody else? Counselor Hopper?
The Huskies U13, have a tournament in Yorkton this weekend. We went to, came back in the rain. They went undefeated for the third game in the semifinals. No score at the end of the third, and then shootout and shootout. So
Yeah.
they're all typically, it was one of the Stanley Cup and the gloves and the.
Oh, I bet.
Everything's flying off. Again, the volunteers at the Bill McDonald Invitational was great. The girls did second on that. Also like to recognize the RCMP that over the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of dangerous situations in our communities. And we wish them to be safe and also for keeping us safe. And just call it a side note on that. I had the opportunity to go down to the courthouse, and years ago when people were arrested and charged, still not guilty, but arrested for gun violence, drug dealing, and that sort of thing. Names were published. I went down, when was made aware of the names that were arrested, and I left a message to the Crown that I hope that when they are in court and these individuals go before the judge, that quite often we find in the communities that people are released on conditions, and to the point where they've been released to live in an apartment in town and they're not even a tenant. So I asked them to ensure that if they're applying, these individuals are applying, or anybody who's violent, if they're applying for release, I would like to see as a citizen condition not reside or be in the town of LaPaw unless you're here for court. And that's been done in the past as well. But I think it's imperative that the judges understand that the community has had enough. Things are getting worse and worse, and more that we can have the ability to ban these individuals through the court from living in our community. We should be pushing the courts to recognize that and do that.
Yeah, no, I know, just to add a little bit into their, counselor, as we talked previously, just before there, I had actually called the Crown as well and spoke to the Crown Attorney and told him more, or asked him the same sort of story, is that, you know, we want to make sure that we send the message that to the judge that our community doesn't want people released in our community if they're not community members. And if they are community members, it's under strict conditions. I also reached out to Opaskwayak Cree Nation's leadership and shared that concern, and they were very aligned with us as well. So I think there's further discussions to have that in the future. I think the Crown's very aware that, you know, we're not as a council or as a community, I can't really speak for all of council because we haven't discussed it, but as a community, we're not supportive of releasing criminals into the community.
And we don't have the same legal jurisdiction as a council or anyone in the town as also the chief of council by BCR and Assembly House Reserve. But again, hopefully the Crown is they're aware of my concern, and other people have said that to them as well. So hopefully the message gets to them.
And just for that, Councillor, is that OCN is very supportive of us in that direction. That they agree that they shouldn't be released into their territory, period.
And a side trail off my recognition, but
Sorry.
start out just recognize the police for it's a dangerous job and keep safe.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd like to recognize Councillor Hopper for taking the initiative of going and doing that. That's appreciated.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anything else? Okay, no citizens tonight. Moving under bylaws, medical recruitment and retention. Somebody should have a resolution for that.
Resolution number 2024-238, moved by myself, second by Councillor Allen. Resolved that bylaw number 4654 being a bylaw of Town of Pod to establish a reserve fund for medical recruitment and retention reserve fund be read a second time.
And so this is just to, had some money returned to us for people out there that, that was originally earmarked for recruitment of a doctor when the return to service agreement was, not fulfilled. The money was returned and the town is just placing this money back into a reserve specifically for medical recruitment because that's what it was earmarked for before. Okay, any questions with that, anybody?
Just a comment. I see there's something coming up later in the agenda that you might be able to make use of that reserve for.
Yeah, I think we should have the discussion around that for sure. So seeing no, call the question, all in favor? Opposed? Carried. That's the second reading. Oh. Yeah,
Resolution number 2024-239. Moved by Council Manager, second by Council Commodore, resolve that bylaw number 4654, being a bylaw of town of Waugh to establish a reserve fund for medical recruitment and retention reserve fund to be read a third time and be passed.
thank you, Council. So this is the third reading for the same bylaw, recorded votes, so going down the list, Andre, yes. Councillor Atkinson,
In favor.
Councillor Hopper,
Yes.
Councillor Forster,
Yes.
Councillor Commodore,
Yes.
Councillor Manage,
Yes.
Councillor Allen,
Aye.
perfect. So 4-0 against. And carried. Okay. So moving down to department resolutions, there's really nothing there. Down to resolution management yearly increase.
Resolution number 2024-240, moved by myself, second by Councillor Forster, whereas section 4.3.1 of policy P-953 non-union employee total compensation states that non-union employees are eligible for an annual increase subject to budget approval and dependent on the town of the Falls financial situation. And whereas the CAO is to recommend an increase to council and any increase is to be passed by resolution each year. Therefore, be resolved that council authorize cost of living allowance increase at a rate of 3% effective January 1st, 2025 for all administration and managers of the town of the Falls.
Thank you. So again, as part of our policy that was written back and we approved earlier, any comments, concerns? Seeing none, call a question, all in favor? Opposed? Abstained? Sorry, I missed it.
Yeah,
So,
I'm just making sure. I read the information. I read it as just managers the first time. Adding administration, this is not the same policy that typically comes this time of year. That includes council, doesn't.
excuse me, no.
It's not our.
It's not, okay,
No, no.
okay, as long as it has nothing to do with it, then I am in for it.
Okay, so just call this
It's
again.
usually this time of year, that one.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay. Payrolls and accounts, 932.
Resolution number 2024. Seconded by Councilor Commodore. Be resolved, council authorize the following accounts. Pay period number 25 in the amount of $125,632.24. General checking number checks number 230812 sorry. Start over. General checks number 32081 to 32131 in the amount of $89,512.52. EFTs in the amount of $122,474.49.
Everybody have a chance to look at all those checks and stuff? Any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, call the question on favor. Opposed? Seeing none, carried. Alrighty, reports of committee and boards. Museum Board, Councillor Commodore.
Okay, we had a meeting December 3rd. We have a raffle going on, or it is going to be. Sorry, not been good tonight. There's a print by James Dean and Teddy Bear and a few other ones. Their tickets are $10 each. So doing the draw, I believe it's tomorrow. On the budget. The museum is going to be closed through Christmas. If anybody wanted to work there, they could, but I don't think anybody wants to work to Christmas. We have a couple of staff members that are going to be on holidays. And that's pretty much it.
Chamber of Commerce.
No meeting since the last board, next meeting will be in the new year.
CDC, there is no meeting, but I do have something to bring up as a part of the CDC report and calendar. Destination marketing.
Yeah, we have two new members, unfortunately, I didn't write their name down. That joined the DMC, we also partly funded the basketball tournament that took place. $20,000 is being given to the resurfacing of the parks and the tennis courts and.
Good.
And that meeting is important.
Cedar Lake.
Yes. We met last Thursday afternoon. Baker Tilly, hosted by our friend John Bird, came in. He did an afternoon on how to read financial statements. I had spoke to this earlier and, we were kind of the trial run for it. It was fantastic. So Cedar Lake will look at putting that forth to the community. And then we had our Christmas get together that evening, and then we had our board meeting Friday. Board week meeting was attended by everyone. We also had a new board member. And Cedar Lake offices will close. I believe it's at 4:30. Friday, December 20th, and we will reopen again Monday, January 6th at 8:30 a.m. And we hope everyone has a great holiday season.
Correct. Recycling Board.
I can announce that I have now left the board, at my own free will, as there are 5 representatives currently on it, and I felt it was only right to free up the spot, as that'll be coming forward anyway. I know that Tanvir and Salmon are kind of filling in the technical aspect, but the over-representation, I felt it was fair to step back, and it can be reassessed if necessary.
At the last meeting, we looked at, as you know, there was no recycling vehicle broke down, so we made arrangements, Sam has made arrangements to lend short term. And people have asked what the definition of short term is. I would think that the definition would be, one of the tasks that Sam was given was to check on leasing a vehicle, check on purchasing a vehicle, and come back with some prices. And then the board would probably be approaching the funders for funds for that, similar to what was done with the forklift, because there is no capital reserve for that. Here to the tri-party OCN and the RM to finalize the tri-party funding agreement. The OCN rep, John, was away last week. I believe he's here this week, so I'm hoping that he'll get a hold of us. If not, we'll call him more. We're expecting that will be done this week. That might fall in line with the other things that put on that.
Good.
I can add couple more things. Sam has the prices for a new truck and a new motor and all that other stuff.
It's provide the summary and speed that process.
Kirsty, are you counselor?
Yes, let's get comfortable. On the 7th of December, the Festival of Trees took place. It was very good. I couldn't attend, unfortunately. On the 11th, we had our MBCI band concert, as you know. Opascua had a Christmas play on the 12th. On the 13th, I was actually able to host a French social night for the middle school students at SBMS.
Nice.
The basketball tournament that occurred on the 13th, as I said, we hosted teams from Saskatchewan and Manitoba at MBCI. And the girls placed second to Thompson, the boys placed third again to Thompson. And tonight, there's a Grinch play happening. Unfortunately, I couldn't attend.
Is the, just out of curiosity, maybe Councillor Manish knows this, is this typical for this year, this age group to be second or third, like I thought? Or are they usually first and second sort of thing? I thought they were very competitive, or like, I wonder if this is the year they're not.
No, I think they have a strong team, not to blow
Coaching?
too much smoke up the coach, but he's been working with a lot of these athletes probably since they were playing small ball, when some of them were 8, 9 years old. So I think this is a lot of proving time for them, having him and Darcy as the two coaches for as long as they have. I think there's a lot of potential there. It was only their second tournament. I'm not sure if their first one would really be considered a tournament, but it's a big tournament. You have a lot of teams that do attend the Bill McDonald. So I think their showing was strong, but I think we'll see big things out of them too.
Oh, that's good.
Part of that is when they do the zones, Thompson's not in the zones, they're in a different league.
Oh, okay. That's what I keep forgetting. Keep thinking it's a high school, it was a high school thing, but it wasn't a high school thing, right? It was a high school team, but not the.
It's high school, but it's basically anybody.
Yeah, any high school.
Yeah, Thompson,
Yeah.
you'll never see Thompson.
Yeah.
Councillor Hopper said Thompson is.
So what you're saying is that it's the coaching, one of the coaches is probably.
No, the kids, it was a little rusty,
Yeah.
early season, a little rusty.
Notice the more the kids ignored them, the better they.
Oh.
they played. You know, as soon as they interfered and told them what they do, they would start faltering, so.
Councillor,
If I may, this goes back to recognition period and it slipped my mind. We have a community member, their name is Jody Cool. And Jody Cool went for their 4th degree black belt. Jody passed, which is fabulous. Jody is the highest ranking person in northern Manitoba.
no, that's good.
And Jody Sensei is level 8, so that's huge. Congratulations, Jody.
Oh, good job. Okay. Any other council reports that anybody wants to share? I have a couple of things. I'll just share one of the meetings I went to. So I did attend the RCMP and I was invited by a councillor or Sergeant Stark to provide to come and see the resource group. The RCMP were there, our CSOs were there. I provided a thank you on behalf of our council for all the hard work that they have done, not only our RCMP, but everybody else that supports our services and their staff. Especially since that the staff are so, especially RCMP and resources, from my understanding, are very undermanned or under-resourced. I shared with them, I wanted to make sure that they understood that when they hear us out there in the community, sort of bringing up issues with the RCMP, we're not talking about the local RCMP. We're talking about the federal government and the lack of the isolated posting pay, the under servicing of the area, the ridiculous cost that the town of the Paw pays. But it's not a reflection on the local guys. We really do appreciate everything they do, and them even going above and beyond with the number of members that have, the extra hours everybody's putting in. They were very appreciative that, I did pop by to say, to share the message. And again, it was really important for them to understand is that when we're talking about concerns with the RCMP, it's because of what's happening federally and provincially, not locally. And, they understood that, so.
Let you out.
Yeah, and then they let me out after I said all that. It was cold back there. Yeah. Unfinished business. Well, improvement committees, all those are scheduled for January. We do have one, myself and Councillor Hopper and Laura have one scheduled for Wednesday on the special service levies that, are being discussed. And again, this is just to, get through some of the details to bring back to council for council's review and all that stuff. Everybody looked at the fees and fines, a lot of work there.
I think a lot of discussion will be needed for that. I'm not sure if the discussion should be out in council or if that could be with our committees.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Just for clarification
Yeah.
on some points and some just don't seem to
Yeah,
share a
that's
strategic plan.
that's a good point, Councillor Manager. Maybe even what we could do is set something up separately for just that, because that's a lot of information. I went through it, but the numbers really don't mean anything to me because I don't really know what things are and what it looked like before. So maybe if we could set something up, and as Councillor Manish says, I don't know if it's a QIC, I'm fine with that, or if it has to be all council, I'm fine with that too, whatever you decide.
Unless be good for a good first one,
Everybody.
understand as everybody, and then further explanation could
Okay.
happen in the
Yeah.
quality.
No, good, thanks for bringing that up. Okay, the next thing, general correspondence, so as Councillor Hopper alluded to earlier, the Raleigh Facility of Health Science sent us a proposal, if everybody has a chance to read that, but more or less what it's saying is that they would like $25,000 to support students' travel and accommodation for clinical experiences in the community. I don't know how they've done this in the past, and that was gonna be my question when I talked to them, is like, how was this covered in the past? And how is this now a municipal responsibility to cover these fees? Because it's great that I support doing something like this, but I also, there's no guarantee, that anybody would ever stay, whether we do it. So I think there should be a little bit more discussion with this group to find out so we've been trying to arrange, they've been trying to meet with us, both been trying to arrange a meeting with them, but, it's been hit and miss, so.
Yeah, I think something should apply to our own policy for training and advancement, that there should be a return for service for money given out in some way or another. It might look very messy, but there should be some form of return for service.
And that's what we did with the, return of service agreement with the doctors as well.
Yeah, I would support just giving them
Yeah.
money to put in to cover their expenses that they've already paid.
Yeah.
Or, they've covered them, they've increased, they still have covered them, so. I think what our reserve fund is more tailored to is an individual, you know, to identify an individual or individuals that are going to actually come here and stay and work here. Then you make your program.
Yeah, I agree.
And the other thing I'd also like to know is, do other communities do this?
Yeah, and that was the questions we had. I know when you look at, other communities' recruitment plans and you've seen it at AMM, some are very aggressive when recruiting medical staff to their communities. I'm not sure if that's a municipal responsibility, but we can do what we can to help promote them into our community. So we'll follow up with that. Okay, Sharps. Counselor, did we go to committee of the whole? Oh, no. Okay, this probably should have been a committee of the whole, but anyways, you wanna start with that?
This has been an issue that we've discussed multiple times over the past couple of years on council. I hate to be that counselor that's following another community, but I was very impressed with what Swan River has done. Because we tend to get a lot of pushback even amongst our own council, head shaking and that needs to end and look towards a common goal. So to put it clear, as you probably all read, the issue sheet itself, it's about a position on sharps. The background, our town continues to experience the detrimental effects of sharps being scattered throughout the town. It is referred to as a harm reduction strategy for users. When is harm reduction considered for our community? And that's kind of the premise of it. Obviously, it's a priority to look after those in need, but it's also a priority to look after those in our community. And unfortunately, a lot of times they don't go hand in hand and they can't work simultaneously. My recommendation is to remove the regional health authority's ability to distribute sharps within our community. The alternative is to continue to see sharps affecting our community without responsibility or consequences to the RHA. The risk I see is that those in need of those devices would be, in a sense, spending on their own and supplying their own addictions on their own. Financial implications, not really one, since we haven't really had any plans or anything laid out in actual cleanup, but we do have community members, we do have members of staff who have taken part. I know I have myself in assisting in cleaning up needles. So there is a cost associated with it. In terms of our strategic plan, it's right in our statement of a safe and healthy environment, community. Seems to not apply to the majority of our community on this topic. I didn't include the attachment. I thought I'd let those do the research themselves, but the resolution at Swan River, 2024-0364, the town of Swan River basically has banished the ability to hand out sharps and other drug paraphernalia in the community. I'm requesting this topic be discussed with an intention of creating a resolution to act as Swan River has.
Are you talking, oh, sorry, are you there? Yeah. Just for clarification, is this Swan Valley West or Swan River?
This was the town of Swan River.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just some background for everybody, I guess, watching. I completely agree, Councillor Manich, we need to continue to work on protecting all of our community members, not one small group. And we've actually put forward as a council in May resolution directly to AMM, which was passed by this board, which sort of addresses those aspects of what harm reduction has been doing. We also, as we put forward that resolution, it was combined then with the Swan River resolution, that at the same time, which comes out now, is that that was a pass by 137 of the municipalities, that we provide adequate resources and support for the establishment of community collection points for safe disposal of sharps and needles, that they implement, this is for the government and shared health, they implement the education programs to raise awareness about sharp needle disposal practices amongst its residents, healthcare providers, and other stakeholders. Renew the regional health authority's current distribution practices of needles, distribution practice of needles to ensure the responsible and safe distribution, including monitor and tracking of needles. Collaborate with local authorities and community organizations to develop comprehensive strategy for the management of discarded needles with the focus of prevention, collection, and disposal. And promote the single-use retractable needles, implementing needle exchange program across the province of Manitoba to improve safety. And so this was actually the joint resolution that both the Swan River and the PAW submitted to AMM. At the same time, I don't know if we talked about it, we also had an actual press conference while we were there. I actually chaired the press conference with the media and shared our concerns with what's happening. As Councillor Manich said, it can't be just a one single step. We believe when it comes to addictions and support services, there's more than one pillar of harm reduction. We have to have a prevention type of activity, which requires our youth and others to be told the harms of what can happen and the hazards around using illegal drugs, alcohol, and all that sort of stuff, which is now very absent in our community. The second pillar is around harm reduction itself, where we understand and we do support. I mean, I'm sure we all support the health of our fellow people when they're going through these traumas and addictions, and we don't want them to get any sicker. We want them to be able, but that can't be done in isolation without the other harm reduction and the addiction support services and the wraparound support services. That's missing today. It's not part of the harm reduction model. And the last thing is about enforcement. And enforcement means that when you break the law for doing drugs, or you're a drug dealer, or you're doing drugs on the step of the post office, you're not allowed to do that. And it's against the law, and there has to be a consequence to it. Now, if you read anything around harm reduction, those are the things, those are the key pillars across all of Manitoba. So I support what you're saying, Councillor Manich. I personally believe we've got, and I don't disagree with maybe coming back to this if it doesn't change, but I think that our alignment with Swan River is almost the exact same. Other than they had written a resolution, we did a provincial resolution that now the provincial government's acting on it, because just as of early this week, or late last week, I got an invite from the NRHA to have a meeting with all the community, looks like leaders, to talk about needle distribution or harm reduction. So I'm agreeing with you, but I'm just saying maybe it's too early. Like, let's give it a chance to see where these guys take it and give them a chance to react, because I don't think another resolution will add any meat to but I could be wrong. Like, that's just some background.
Yeah, no, and I've read a lot of that material as well. I've heard as much as adding the $30,000 to each RHA.
Yeah.
To help come up with a plan, but that's not to take action, it's to come up with a plan,
Yeah.
right? And unfortunately, we're all fully aware how slow the government can move. And I would like to see some quicker action
Yeah.
in lieu of that time. I completely support and watching and seeing what mandates or what the provincial government is doing, but in the meantime, we need to protect our community by taking some steps, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
We need to have.
No, I completely support you, and just for clarity, I have a pretty good relationship with the Swan River guys, because we did a lot of work behind this on this stuff with the government. Needles are still being handed out in Swan River, just not from harm reduction. So, we gotta make sure, I think what we do is put this as a follow-up, because if we have to strengthen our own rules and regulations or down the bylaws, we will do that. I just think we gotta give the government a bit of time to see because we just passed a resolution in November. That's my only issue.
Can we, and I'd love to table this as well, I said as long as it stays on our radar. If we could review this whatever it be.
No, for sure.
90 days, 128 days, 120 days, just to not fall off.
Yeah, no,
I know we won't, because we'll be having kids with snowsuits full of
Yeah.
needles, but
And again, and then I agree, put it on our follow-up or unfinished business list, and we'll make sure it's there. I just want to give a little bit of recognition though to our current, how we manage it, because we're different than Swan River, and our actually harm reduction people and our NRHA people in our community actually do a lot of work all around this already about picking up needles, as well as our CSOs do a great job. If you remember, we held an event in May. We created a Sharps Harm Reduction Committee, which we have running, that we meet quarterly with. So we already meet quarterly with OCN, Swampy Cree, Tribal Health, all of the players, NRH or the harm reduction group. But I do agree, we can't let it be lost. So if we could put that on our
Yes.
unfinished business, and then we won't get us lost. Thanks for bringing that up. Next one, is that?
next one, I want to start off with saying I saw an improvement already the past week. We've had 3 major incidents, but just to give the issue sheet some knowledge for those that may be watching and understand what is the issue. Cautions to public and community safety department. Background on December 9th and 10th, and I guess I could add now this past weekend. Our community was subjected to a couple concerning events. Communication with Town of Paul was non-existent until after 10 p.m. on the 9th. Our community members are getting emergency lockdown info from OCN, but nothing from Town of the Paul. Obviously, there was a little bit of discussion through text messaging and things relating to that. In no way am I asking to infringe on the RCMP's due diligence. In no way am I asking to release information that is not accurate. It is simply to tell our community we are aware of situations and we are doing our best and allowing those in the position to do their job. But when we don't allow or announce that we are aware, we come across incompetent. I'm not exaggerating when I say I had over 100 messages saying, why are we not saying something about this? Now, again, we do have to be careful what we say, but the messaging that did come out even yesterday related to an event, simple, just a matter of we are aware of the situation and be vigilant, be careful. We care for our community. That's all the messaging. It can be doom and gloom or it can be very positive, but letting our community know that we are aware of events and that we're doing our best to manage them or those responsible are is a good message for our community to know we are on top of things. Just to continue with my issue sheet. We have a community safety department and no information was shared to our community. No messaging of reassurance, and that's where I say it doesn't have to be doom and gloom. It can be a matter of reassuring the community. No different than our municipal superintendent saying, hey, we're having a problem with the garbage truck. It's not going to be out today, or we're going to be delayed. It's just letting the public know before they get upset. That's all we're heading it off. I think it can be appreciated that our tri-community needs to be in sync when it comes to messaging concerning events. We talk a lot about our tri-community relationship, and yet it seems to be very out of sync in terms of our communication. We pay a lot of lip service to this relationship, but we aren't working as a true tri-community. And I think we can do a better job of that. Social media is where a majority get their information. I've heard as much as 86% of people get their news from social media venues. We have now a website. We can put alerts, we can do things if they are overly concerning, but we have ways to, again, just to reassure the community, and we should be taking those steps. I won't bother getting into the references I made, but I will make a couple comments. I know the mayor had asked Jerome, our social media person, to share a message. That was great. It was much after the fact, but at least the message did come out. Didn't have to be alarmed, just simply letting people know we were aware. To say it's not a community, not a council matter is a bit concerning. It is a community. We are ultimately responsible for the things that happen in this town. And we should be acknowledging the community that we are aware of it and we are doing our part as their representatives to ensure it's being taken care of. Not having the facts, again, not looking to share information that may not be accurate. I would hate to act on rumors or assumptions, but when we know events have occurred, it's just a matter of passing on a message of doing our part and being vigilant and being safe and careful within our community. All correspondence from the town is through the mayor. That's not accurate. Anything to do with this council and as a spokesperson, yes, Mayor Murphy is our spokesperson. However, our managers have the right and the ability to make announcements, whether it have to do about snow clearing, about garbage pickup, about community safety, about actions by the fire department. That is a responsibility to announce actions by their department, and they have the full right to do so. Again, RCMP have their media procedures. Yes, absolutely. We would not like to release any information about their operations or information that is exclusive for them to be reviewing. The risk, not alerting the public to the best of our ability, shows incompetence and an inability to be transparent to our citizens. Again, we're not there to save the world. We're there to simply know that we are on top of things and we do have their interests and their best interests and their safety in our minds and thoughts at all times. Relates again to our strategic plan with safe and healthy community. That comes from a mental state of mind as well. Knowing that we are doing our best and are aware of things helps calm people. That's all I really have to say about it. Again, I will commend the mayor for this weekend's past, that there was announcements made, and then we did do a little bit of, information as it became aware to us. It was shared, and that did a lot for our community, because I only got the messages as opposed to 100.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure our community knows so what typically happens is that when the RCMP actually sends me a message, I will send it to you guys for information. I will also ask if I can share the information, and I've had meetings with Councillor or Sergeant Stark that I don't want to know information that I can't share, because then I'm sitting on information. I'd rather not know. On the date that we're talking about, the 9th and 10th, I knew nothing. I was home all day and I knew nothing that was going on in the community. I only found out when you got the message at 10:30 at night. I received the text message of the lockdown. This is for our community. And at that time, I actually reached out to the RCMP and said, what's going on? And then at 11 o'clock, that's when I made the post. So, you know, I want our community members to be aware of is that we're not sitting on, our council's not sitting on information. And when myself as the mayor, because I'm the representative that the RCMP contacts, when we get the information, I share it with council and our administrator to ensure. Always my comment back is, is it information that I can share? And if he doesn't respond to me, then within about a half an hour, I will just share the information. And as councillor managed in a way that shows, and this is what we talked about at our meeting on Wednesday as well with the RCMP, is there's the safety of the community, but there's also the mental health of the community when all the stuff's going on. We have seniors in our community that are watching Facebook, they don't know what's going on. And then all of a sudden, one community is on lockdown and we don't know anything about it. And since that time as well, on the Thursday or Friday, I spoke to the chief. And I think I wouldn't say we give them lip service, but I spoke to the chief and said that, hey, we've got to do a better job of coordinating communication between our communities. And she agreed. I said, we didn't know anything that was going on all day long, and I didn't know anything, and our CSOs didn't appear to know anything. So it looks bad on us, but if we can't, I didn't know anything. If somebody knew something in the middle of the day and wanted me to check with the RCP, they could have just messaged me. I was available all day. But like I said, my first message on that was 10:30 at night. So I agree, Councillor Manich, we can get better at that. We've got to keep that communication. I think if you look though at the number of incidents we do communicate, this one here sort of slipped through the cracks on the 12th, but for the most part, I think we're doing a pretty good job there, but could be better.
Well, again, I agree in principle with what Councilor Manch is saying, that we need to be transparent, and when we have accurate information that's given directly to us by our RCMP, our police force, then we release it. If we're getting information off of Facebook or someone else, I say, don't release it. You confirm with the RCMP that this is accurate, and then you release it. Rumors run rampant in the community,
and that's what happens. So when I get those messages, if I get a message from somebody, or if one of council would have messaged me and said, hey, what's going on with this? I will message directly to the RCMP and say, what's going on? And then that's where we get the information.
And then we should also be getting information from our CSOs, and just find it hard to believe.
I'm going to comment on the CSOs. They're hours at work. They don't work evenings, they don't work weekends. So to ask them to come up with information when they're not working, they would end up having to contact Merit or the RCMP. It's unfortunate. I think communication will be broke down between and police. It was their property that they were concerned with, both by the White Bridge and not our property, but adjacent to town. So communication, it sounds like things are on the same page now, not only for the chief and the mayor and the RM. To do a joint press release of some sort when things are happening. But I agree, once the information is given to us by the police, let it go. No different than when we had the escapees. we were getting information and was shared and whatever had to be put out to the community was put out. What happened on the night of the escapees? It was on Facebook. Oh, they're in this area. Everybody in town, not everybody, there was more traffic around there, people driving around looking to see where they are. And to me, that's the hindrance to the police.
Yeah.
You don't want that happening when you're talking gun violence. You don't want to say there's something going on in this street. You don't want people driving by just to see what's going on because it could be an active scene. And we don't want to be responsible for that.
And that's why I made it clear. I'm not asking to share information that we do not have facts on. It's a matter of saying, we are aware of the situation, please be vigilant. Please take care of yourself. It's just an acknowledgement that we are aware. That's it. It's.
Yeah, once we're-
information.
That's the thing. And so the commitment from the chief, myself and Bola, the chief, Mike and Laverne, their CSO manager, we're committed to kind of get together. This communication, especially during the daytime, Laverne and Mike have to be connected so they know what's going on. But also when I shared with the chief that I didn't know what was going on, she was a bit shocked as well, so.
I just want to add one thing to it. Our safety departments did not have any information.
Yeah. Well, nobody did. I didn't, but
And yet it was shared all day long on Facebook.
yeah, well,
That's
I
what we-
wasn't on.
so that should be a follow-up on our part. If by 2 o'clock in the
Yeah.
afternoon, there's somebody saying, hey,
But if
somebody's
somebody's,
from reputable groups, it wasn't
yeah,
just on Facebook, right? It was OCN comms and government services of OCN announcing these things. Therefore, we should be able to take the initiative to follow up and say, what's happening? So we can understand
I
further.
was home all day, but I can't monitor Facebook as the mayor. So if somebody sees an issue out there, and if you guys see it and you're not hearing anything from me, just message me. Because that's how I found out, like 10:30 at night, I got a message from Carrie. I didn't know anything. I was just about ready to go to bed. So, I get it. Like, if you guys see something and we're seeing like we're missing something, please ask and I'll get the information. But I can't communicate. It's not like we weren't communicating. We just didn't know. I didn't know anything about it.
And I had found out from Trent probably 3 minutes before I messaged you.
Yeah, so I wasn't on.
No.
And I think, you know, this is a very important thing for our community to understand. If you want a response from the mayor, posting on rants and raves not gonna get you one. Because I don't comment in there, because it can be a bit of a cesspool, to be honest with you. And I'm not getting dragged into a big, long debate on that. If you want it, everybody knows all of our phone numbers are posted, all of our emails are posted. Everybody knows how to get a hold of us. Feel free to call me. I do have a personal page. If you message that personal page, typically within a few hours, I'll get an alert or something and it'll make me go look. But I think it's unfair for our community members to think that the mayor or a councillor should be watching rants and raves and providing updates there. That's not how it works. And it also doesn't work when you call us all sorts of names, and that doesn't actually generate a lot of good interest either, so especially to those sites. So if you want something, please go directly to this websites.
Yeah, or even contact us directly.
Yeah, that's what I mean, yeah.
Absolutely. I just want to also thank Councilor Manager for bringing this forward. That's been an issue with myself as well. I brought this up when we had the unfortunate stabbing there outside the mall 2 years ago or whatever. And I do agree communication is an important thing. That said, I think that maybe what we should be going for here is ensuring communication within a set amount of time after we're made aware of it. So we can't expect people to communicate it, as you said, if nobody knows about it. And from my understanding, nobody really did know about it till 10:30 at night.
Yeah.
And I don't think we can just assume that our community safety officers would know, regardless of if this posted on Facebook. I don't have their job description in front of me, but I'm pretty sure, scouring Facebook is not part of the job description, so I can't assume that they would know. We probably need to better align with OCN to ensure that when their communication goes out, somebody on our side gets in that same loop at the exact same time.
No, and we've had that, like I said, I think we've got to follow that up because that was sort of the challenge the last time as well.
Yeah. And like I said, I noticed improvement already just in the past week. The efforts made and reaching out to me, that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah,
What
but
we're hoping for is better communication to ensure and set our community at ease when there are situations.
But I want-
We're never gonna be perfect, but the effort is there already, so thank you.
But I just want to make it clear though, that wasn't a performance issue for us, because we didn't have the information.
Yeah.
If I was sitting on it, yeah, like, so I agree, this weekend it was better because we got the information right away. So as soon as we got the information, I initiated the conversation and then sent it out, so, Sergeant Stark had actually, was gonna come here tonight to talk about some of this stuff. But he had another commitment, so he couldn't make it, but he's committed to come in January, and so that we can get that communication clear.
And this might be a little bit of an overstep, but something I would like to see is information sharing from the community safety officers and members, no different than, like I said, Public Works Department, Fire Department. Putting someone else on, even if someone is, hey, please, the parking signs could come from our community safety, just to show that they do exist.
Yeah, I agree.
Right? There could be some messaging that they have full rights to do.
Yeah.
And a place to turn to for information. It could be a separate Facebook page if they really wanted to, right?
Yeah,
Again, just,
well, ideally, we go on the town hall website.
Yeah, we talk about having a separate Facebook because they are just new, so it will take some.
well, they're almost a year. Your manager was hired in April.
8 months ago.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
long time to get things rolling, and like I said,
managing,
My personal opinion is multiple
Yeah.
Facebook pages to check, oh, excuse me, to check. That's
Yeah,
that's
just-
an effort.
one person. But I agree with Councilor Manage that there could be more communication. I mean, it goes back to flying your flag, right? We talk about that all the time. Our community safety officers are doing a great job. They're doing lots of good things out there. Let's tell people the good things we're doing. You know, and if there's,
messages go both ways.
yeah, if we're giving out parking tickets because there's an area that's, people are parking that they shouldn't be parking, take a picture, put it up. And then tell people, like, so yeah. Okay. Moving along, thanks for bringing that up. I don't see any more citizens, period. Then committee of the whole.
Resolve that we now move ourselves into the committee of the whole with Mayor Murphy in the chair to discuss matters requiring our attention.
Okay, snow removal, just the annual or the agreement that needs to be renewed. Looks like $48,800. Recommended by the department head. Anybody have any issues with the resolution next meeting?
No, I do have a quick question though, when it comes to this agreement. When they're going down back to their office, there's only a few houses that have driveways there. And they never lift their blade. Is it possible that that blade, we can recommend or ask them if they can please lift their blades for the few people that live down that street? What is that street called?
Third Street Highway.
Third. Yeah.
I don't even have the site look, do they?
I don't believe I don't think they do, because we have this discussion with them every year, because even as they go through town, all of our intersections like Second Street, Third, they do both sides, but Fourth Street, and then all the way down Third Street, they leave a ridge. Part of the issue that they brought up previously is just like lack of staffing. Their few staff have such a wide area to cover. Because normally what they would do is they would come back and kind of clean up those intersections after they've, done the run out of the highway and come back. So we're trying to communicate more with their office to kind of explain that. I know, some other local businesses have reached out directly to them to kind of raise some concerns, because they paid someone to come, let's say, do their sidewalk on Third Street in front of their business, and they go inside, they come back and you can't get it open now because they've piled a bunch of snow onto the sidewalk in front of their business. So
I haven't noticed though that the back lanes have that high ridge. It's just the residential houses.
we're trying to get on it quicker because
Oh, you counted pause doing the back lane to clear that away?
that's
Okay,
the most likely spot to get hung up, and coming out of the back lane, if you get
Okay.
hung up there, you're gonna potentially could panic and cause kind of a.
Is there any chance that we can just call them now and say, listen, we're getting complaints from our community members? Can you guys try to do a better job there? And I know there's a lack of staff. Well, we're all lack of staff. I mean, there's only a certain amount of time in the day. You can put your resources wherever you need to put them. So if we have community members that are concerned, if they can help. I know I also got a concern, speaking sort of the same thing about the RM office. We cleared all the snow around all the downtown. We did a good job, except for the RM office.
Yeah, that portion wasn't quite done yet, and the majority of the snow that's actually sitting there is from the RM parking lot, but
No, on the main road,
in front, so in front, what happened is we had a equipment malfunction on
Yeah.
our sidewalk plow, but
I'm just
we're
saying,
gonna make another run. So speaking of communication, actually, this is a good point. We should have communicated last week what happened, so that people didn't think that that was
We're done.
the finished product, right? So, yeah.
yeah, I had somebody corner me in
We
the,
were politely asked if somebody different or new was, doing the work downtown. So,
Is that most of Main Street you're gonna do again?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of areas that, once they pull that snow back off of the sidewalk, con big ridges and people with walkers, they can't get through there. So everybody was trying to get quickly to scrape it down so that the old folks could get by.
Yeah.
And anybody that had difficulty walking.
well, especially, actually, not to pick out your business, but in front of your business with your bins right there in the post. It created like a little snow wall. I thought you were building a snow fort, so I didn't want to interfere.
From the park,
Oh,
it is,
yeah,
goes through from, especially now with the line
the fence
fence
there.
there. You get that blowing snow coming across and
Yeah.
it fills right in.
Yeah, the crews are working on around the hospital. We finished some little side streets to get open, and then schools will be the priority over the next 2 weeks. And then we will jump back to,
you guys have been doing a great job, you're getting a lot of positive feedback, and like I said, I don't know if the person was just giving me the gears about the RM office or not, but
Yeah.
No,
I said,
no,
I told him, I said it was on purpose.
back to this
the
agreement. though.
agreements are signed, that's right.
The highways did an amazing job. I'm not saying that they didn't do an amazing job. I just want to be perfectly clear with that. Like, those big dumps of snow, they were out, like that road was clear. But there were some people, residential, 3 times they had to clear away that great big ridge. Like, it wasn't a little ridge. They were huge ridges and they freeze up so fast.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, we'll,
So it
But
sounds,
you don't
we'll
have-
keep bringing it up.
sound-
to
yeah, it sounds like they're just in a resolution for the next meeting,
Yeah.
And if you're talking under what Councilor Atkinson said, maybe just to add on there about the bridge, they pack the snow right in where you're walking on the bridge. I've seen some people trying to get through and it's like that high on down.
Yeah, I seen kind of small crew there today. Those poor guys were trying to shovel it out, so.
Yeah.
We, when we get complaints from the public, we do try to forward it on to them as well to help, relay the message to them.
If I may,
Yeah.
I would also like to bring up that
Just 1 second, I guess.
I noticed that, like, speaking of like ridges of snow beside schools and stuff, some of the ridges of snows are right beside the roads in school areas, which could be tempting for kids to like try to climb up and play on the snow, which is right beside the roads.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure if you can like make a change to that right now, but I think that should be something that we consider in the future.
100% school zones are, like a priority one. The dumps were significant, so it's taking us a little bit longer than we'd like to get around to them, but they will, with the school shutting down for Christmas, it's sort of an ideal time for us to
Yeah.
knock those banks down, but that's still, the areas that kids are walking home as well are of concern as well, so.
Perfect. Okay,
I just have to say, it's a great workout cleaning your sidewalk from your business. I got 4 hours in.
okay, provincial building works enclosure, so as you see in the picture there, recommended by our staff to approve the closure. I have no issues with it. Anybody else?
Yeah, I think there's some, here you go ahead. You look like you were ready to talk.
Yeah, I'm just gonna, there was comments in there whether or not the provincial building has talked to railroad about the parking across the street, somehow to get in and out of there. Ross Avenue is a nightmare now, and this happens, I'm not sure if you're gonna have to limit parking and I don't know where they're gonna park.
We told the contractor that we may have to put no parking on Ross, through the winter months especially. But all that's gonna do is just push the traffic another block.
So looking at trying to think of where the alternative place to park, maybe the contractor could be responsible in the winter, keeping the area where the freight sheds are or work.
Mhm.
And if we could use that land there, or the provincial, they can make arrangements. they have to do something about it, because those vehicles, never mind the traffic that goes through there every day, it's the vehicles that are parked in the provincial building.
All down Hazelwood, yeah.
And they have to go somewhere, it's congested now. I'd like to see a solution before I would say, yes, go ahead and do this. I know we need the investment, but we're not talking like 2 months, we're talking 3 years.
3 years.
possibly.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a nightmare, and you've got the puck train takes off, there's more traffic there. I'd like to see some kind of concrete plan where these people are gonna park from the provincial building and the people that work along there, because otherwise, I don't know what, it's gonna be a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's gonna come back on us.
Can you get more information on that?
100%, yeah, that's our biggest concern. We don't want to stop them, but we just, yes, Counselor.
I'd also recommend talking with Kelsey School Division. Years ago, there was a proposal made, the playground at Mary Duncan is no longer used. They have the compound, the daycare, but the rest of the playground is completely unused. And there was a proposal put forward for RHA parking and government service parking that maybe with a new superintendent, he might be a little more progressive and consider that. At the end of the day, it's a 2-minute walk, right? It's not, well, you're not across the street, therefore it's inconvenient. If parking is that much of an issue, because again, I know you've asked for further information, but what do they want to close it for? Is it just to facilitate their needs, or is it to store materials? To be a 3-year-long project, I can't see them storing 3 years of materials, so I think it's just a logistic move on their part. So I would rather see 1 lane of Hazelwood and 1 lane of Ross to keep the traffic flowing, and instead of blocking off an entire block, which, as you pointed out, is already a congested area.
That's identical first statement I made, asking if we can keep Hazelwood, we'll call it northbound, open to keep the traffic at least flowing around there.
Yeah, so you have the
And
one way.
immediately, the response from the contractor was that they would have to narrow the scope of the project significantly.
See, I think that's.
So I think what I need to, what I'm
Let's
trying to
get
do
some
is,
more information.
yeah.
So the thing is that we're interested, but we need more information.
So I'm gonna assume there's a lot of heavy equipment that's gonna be used in this.
Trains,
Is there anticipated damage to the road for this?
Most of the damage I would suggest would happen probably in the parking lot area, like where the cranes will be stationed
On
and
their
set up.
property?
Yeah, so that's a lot of government service vehicles too that they have to move somewhere, so I'm a little concerned about so many.
I can't see how the train station would work, but
My second question, they do not have, I work there, so I know they do not have enough parking as is.
Correct.
Because we're doing, or they're doing such a major renovation, is the expectation that they will meet our bylaw requirements at the end of this for parking?
what is their upgrade actually?
The upgrade is just to the exterior of the building and the roof of the building, I believe. I don't have a full scope yet of the
So
work.
let's get more information. We're just-
I wasn't sure if it would still remain under the, because it's a good zoning question, but I wasn't sure if it changes the use of the building. If
Well-
that it wouldn't be grandfathered in, or,
Yeah, so I'm kind of curious if this still, with all that work, if it still qualifies as grandfathered in or not.
that's a good question. Once we get the scope, we can look a little closer at that.
One more thing to take into consideration as well is that is where the train is loaded every Monday and Thursday.
There's a good note about Mary Duncan back there. That would be an ideal spot.
Okay, more information that comes down, if you can bring it for our next meeting, find out what the scope is, find out what their plan is with their, and see if there's any bylaw or planning.
When are they scheduled
Issues.
to do events? This summer.
Okay. We see nothing else, so we're going to end camera. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas. Hope we don't let that.
So, before you sign off, just to let everybody know, we won't really see any actions coming out of the in-camera portion tonight. On behalf of council, we wish you all a very Merry Christmas. Ensure that you have a safe one. Eat a lot of turkey and cookies and all that sort of good stuff, and we'll have something common to complain about in January. So, Merry Christmas all.
Resolve that we now move ourselves into the in-camera portion of committee of the whole with Mayor Murphy in the chair to discuss matters requiring our attention.